All right, Naya Feather. For people that haven't been keeping up, this is one of my selection of favorite decks in this format that feels reasonably competitive. It's based around this card here, so we have a number of cards that target our own creatures, so we can rebuy them again and again and again. We also have cards like 10th District Legionnaire that get bonuses when they get targeted, and things like Dreadhorde Arcanist that allow us to recast our other spells from our discard pile. Let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here. I'm going to be playing this at the Nerd Rage tournament weekend this weekend, which is a standard tournament on Saturday and Sunday. Had a medium-ish run yesterday. We won about as much as we lost, hopefully. Hopefully get some good games in here today. Have a good mix of lands and spells. Learn a little bit. I saw you removed Thrash from the 75. Could you please discuss? I'm actually not 100% sure if cutting Thrash is right. So, like, I have, like, the one Rile. The one thing I felt like after playing more games is that one of the big upsides to playing this archetype is getting to play Shock and Reckless Rage, because this incredibly efficient one-mana removal felt really good. And while I had originally felt that Thrash Threat was kind of what this deck wanted to be doing and it was worth the splash, the more and more I played with all these cards, the more I realized Spellbreaker was really the card that was worth the splash, and like Thrash Threat was like kind of mediocre at 2 mana. The fact that Thrash Threat also doesn't flash back with this card also means it leaves a little bit to be desired on occasion. So you'll notice I bottomed this on turn 1, and the reason for that is exactly what happened here. The way my hand was set up, I wanted to prioritize finding more threats in case my opponent's playing a removal heavy deck like it looks like they are. So very, very possible. One of the ways this deck tends to lose is it hits the wrong mix of stuff, basically. So you can see here I have a bunch of Reckless Rages and Shocks, which I was talking about are good in a variety of matchups in this format, but you could definitely hit a bit of a wrong half problem where, like, they're just not good against what my current opponent is doing. Yeah, the Healing Graces are really good in the red matchup, for sure. Pretty unlikely to win from here. Just gonna wait and get a little bit more information here. Second red source actually isn't terrible, because it means we could draw something like a Spellbreaker or another red threat like a Legionnaire and still be able to Reckless Rage in the same turn and kill this.
I know 88 ways. I have just the trick for this.
If I draw a threat next turn and I'm able to play it and kill this, we might keep playing. Otherwise, we're probably dead. Yeah, in general, Invictius, if you're having a hard time dealing with Planeswalkers, usually it means you don't have a board, and if you don't have a board, you're probably losing that game anyways. So, like, if you don't have a board, the Thrash Threat's probably not going to help you deal with the Planeswalker to begin with. This was one of our better draws there. And this had Spellproof, which is great, or Hexproof, which is great this turn. So it's going to get to kill her, and then if they play this and shoot this, I have Shock to finish this. So, like, I'm not in an amazing spot, but I am in a position where, like, we could maybe still be in this game if I hit a good string of threats here. Yeah, if you look, Red-White Feather has top-8 the last 2 Grand Prix, and this deck is very similar to the Red-White builds, except we have 4 of this card. And the reason why I really like this card is because if you look at all of the 5th threats that the Red-White decks are playing, they're all kind of playing different ones because people can't really decide what's the best 5th threat. And I think this is way better than any of the 5th threats the other builds have to offer. And while the splash isn't 100% free, it's pretty close to free with how good our mana is in this format. Now, we're hoping at this point our opponent's hands is just 1-for-1 removal. If we can fade them sticking like a Planeswalker and generating sustained card advantage, we might be able to claw back in this with a good string of draws. Like that. So we're definitely behind at the current point, but this is not, we're not behind to the point where it's just like, let's pack it in and move on. Yeah, a lot of the Boros builds people have been playing are playing 21 or 22 lands. They're only playing 16 white sources. That was an absurd draw. This is just one of our best cards against these removal heavy decks, so it can make itself indestructible. We've had a very good run of draws here. And the beats continue. Cards in my hand. So, like, playing more things out theoretically extends into a sweeper, except this protects itself from Ritualist Soot. But keeping cards in my hand doesn't mean they're safe either, because my opponent has discard spells. Another thing from positions like this, my opponent's flooding out, but my opponent's deck also likely plays more lands than I play. So they are a little bit less inclined to find spells. And again, not arguing the fact that we've been fortunate here, but our deck definitely has a slightly higher action density than what theirs has. Games like this are a good example of why we bring in the Vivien's Arkbows out of the sideboard against these control decks, because the Arkbows allow us to convert these excess lands late into something meaningful. Adanto Vanguard really showing why he's just very good in these matchups. Another Defiant Strike. Shock. Another Defiant Strike. Shock. Rats. That's a good negate. We could have hit a creature threat there that would kill them that they couldn't negate. Alright, we have a game. Gotta get lucky again. And again, from a position like this, my opponent's deck is incredibly favored. Their deck has much better top decks than ours does. Yep. Nick's gonna flip over and rebuy another Planeswalker. That was a close game. Rile's one of my go-to cuts. Gird for battle comes out against the control decks. This is mostly good for punching through other creature decks. Collision Colossus is great because it allows us to kind of punch them for extra points of damage, but also deals with Flying Nick. I think I just trimmed these Reckless Rampages. I wonder if Gird is better than these Shocks. Shock finishes Planeswalkers, I guess. A lot of time their 5-mana Nick's going to come down and shoot my thing, I think. Yeah, let's do this. Hey, Suskine, thanks for the 5 months. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Welcome back. Is Reckless Rage better than Shock because it hits the boarded and Enter the God Eternals? Maybe. Actually, Gird gets our things out of range of Enter the God Eternals, so that could be a reason to have it too. Yes, Enya. This is something close to this configuration once I figure out the last few details. It's something that I'm going to play this weekend at the tournament. It's pretty reasonable. I do think things like Grixis are one of this archetype's hardest matchups just because they have a lot of interaction, but I don't think you're like just dead to them, so it's one of the reasons why I enjoy playing this deck. It has some good matchups, but it also has the matchups that are hard. It has a lot of play to them. I don't want Lava Coil because I'm the beatdown in this matchup. It's my job to kill my opponent. Playing out the second Legionnaire is worse than Feather in the face of Cry. So maybe that's wrong. Rampage bodes well for me. Huh? I feel like Rampage implies they don't have a Ritualist Soot here. I'm going to hold this land in my hand to discard to a 4-mana Nicol Bolas. I also, even if I played this out, I don't have double red, so I can't use Colossus to protect my creature from like a Cry or a Moment of Craving anyways. I go ahead and do this while they're mostly tapped down, get a Scry in and punch them in the face, make my guy a little bit bigger. Gets him out of Cry and Moment range, which is nice. This puts them down to 5. And again, still holding on to this not only for Bow, but also for their 4-mana Nicol Bolas. Sure, there's lots of people playing auto chess, pen up. It's a wildly popular game. Alright, so removal spell is lethal here. To kill their blocker and hit them for 7. They have a Moment of Craving here. A Tyrant Scorn, maybe. Just like reading my things, trying to figure out what they want to do here. Bedeck. Yeah, they could have killed this with Bedeck. Hey, what's going on, Slacker? This notably doesn't have anything to jump back here, which kind of sucks.
My students are loyal and brilliant.
Yeah, Interplanar Beacon's kind of burying us here.
In exchange for eternal servitude.
So if they down tick here, I get to kill their Nicol Bolas. I think they probably want a plus, huh? Really? Okay.
Your existence is pointless.
Holding onto this land is awkward in the face of a 4-mana Nick, but it's good if I draw an Arkbow, so I'm gonna go ahead and hold on to it for now. I think it's worth taking Kazminia off the table just in case they draw a Sarkhan later. Buttons back up to 10 here. These lands have just gained them 6 life this game. It's a tough hill to climb. Looking to fade Cry here. If they hit a way to kill this too, it's also not great for us. Ideally, we don't want this to draw another card next turn. That card doesn't look great unless this is also a removal spell. You got me. Yep. Alright. I mean, we're technically ahead at the moment, but again, like, there's so many just big draws in their deck. We're gonna get to kill this, and then we're a little bit ahead here. That getting bottomed is great for us. Alright, this covers Nicol Bolas as a draw, which is nice. It also means we kill them 1 turn sooner. Or 2 turns sooner, actually, right? It also means when they down tick her here, I'm gonna attack, and then we can Colossus over to kill her, which is nice. Like, trample, please. Prevents you from filtering a card.
Form a new plan.
As much as I don't want to show them this card, I'm playing it out, so this way if they hit Cry, I can end step find another threat. I know they have negate post board, I suppose. Contempt keeps them alive here. Enter the God Eternals keeps them alive here. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, I can't pay to keep this alive. So I'm just like hoping they draw a brick here. Or like hoping if they don't break, I can untap and draw a shock and kill them. Sure, but I'm not beating another enter anyways, Zeta. One of the biggest mistakes inexperienced Magic players make, in my opinion, is that they spend too much time worrying about cards they can't beat, as opposed to correctly identifying, hey, I can't beat that, and then moving on with their lives. Good series of draws there for opponent. I feel like we were pretty far ahead there for a while, and then the negate into the untap enter the God Eternals is just a little bit too much there with us drawing running lands afterwards. There isn't a rule of thumb, Sunko. It's very contextual. In the dark, it's probably Gutter Bones, but whether or not you always do that depends on just so many other factors. What else? What else is in your hand? What does your mana look like? What is your opponent playing? Did your opponent go first? What do they do on their first turn? Pretty mediocre series of hands there. It was really bad. We played against good modern decks and we got promptly slaughtered. Because our deck was slow and interactive and modern is brutal and fast. Our deck could only goldfish a turn 3 kill, which is just too slow in modern. Well, the good news is Reckless Rage plus Shock means I get to kill this Wild Growth Walker next turn, so that's nice. Hostage Taker's gross. Drawing the third red source here is great, because it means I get to do this and then get back my Reckless Rage. So if they Hostage Taker this turn, I get to kill it in response to the trigger. So we mulliganed this game, but we're now up a card. Thanks to, don't Chupacabra me. Golgari Queen. Yikes.
Only a fool stands in my way.
So we're hoping to draw a haste threat here so we can finish the Vraska off. So Feather drew us 2 cards here, so we're almost at parity instead of being ahead. So we started down 2 cards. Alright, so you're saying there's a chance. That's all I really need is a chance. Take a chance on me. Sultai matchup's probably pretty hard for this deck. This is a kind of grindy matchup where both Legion Warboss and Bow aren't particularly good because they have so many ways to interact with Bow. I do have Tocatli on our guard for this matchup, though, which is a big boon. Shuts off a lot of their enter the battlefield effects, which is nice. I'm holding on to Gird for now, because ideally I'd like to use this to pump up 2 creatures. Have to hold this to keep the hostage taker from taking my Spellbreaker, unfortunately. This is game 1. Yep. If we hit a feather, we might be okay here. If we hit a feather, we might be okay. Yeah, there's a ton of variation in like main deck cards that you play against, in especially on the ladder. In this format in general, a lot of people have like little small hedges that they make depending on like what they beat and what they want to beat and what they want to lose to. Gird's good here for making my dorks bigger. I like cutting a couple of Adantos usually when I bring in all the Tocatlis. I'm trim a couple of shocks. I'm breeding in Lava Coils. This seems fine. I mean, again, just like going back to what I just said there, Come Eat Pizza, like, a lot of people just like play the cards they have or play the cards they like. Your little anecdotal samples on the ladder aren't really representative of like what's doing well in tournaments, etc. The important thing to remember about Magic is like the decks you see in the top standings of the tournament are not identical to all the decks that were played in that tournament. So there's frequently lots of variation in things than decks that didn't do well, as opposed to, you know, the top decks being more similar because more optimized decks are winning more often. Yes, this is going to be my last deck of the day, man. This hand's like really good with a couple of lands. And if they play a creature, I can Defiant Strike it. Little speculative on the play, but eh. Divest. Yeah. The opponent is just playing Sultai cards they like. So here's the thing, Spank Weasel. One of it's kind of like a level up moment when you're talking about, we're so good at this, when you're talking about cards in your deck. Just because you frequently board a card out doesn't mean that card is bad, especially in the case of something like Rile. Rile is what I would describe as a filler card. It's a card that basically just draws a card and works well with a few of our different engine pieces. And that card in the post-board games often gets replaced by a card that's specifically good in whatever matchup we're currently playing. So just because we're frequently boarding Rile out doesn't mean it's not worth its slot. Rile is the type of card that I would describe as it's always okay. You're never like, oh yeah, Rile was the best draw there, but you're frequently like, yeah, sure, Rile, that was fine. No, that was a divest. Twitch does not show ads to subscribers, Jerry. If you saw an ad on my channel, your account probably wasn't logged in properly on your device just yet. Or you hit a bug, and I'd encourage you to report it to Twitch. Getting 2 for 1 there by the cruelty feels real bad. Opponent's almost out of cards, though. So that's nice. Jumpstart and Feather works how you want it to. You get the card back.
Step aside or be crushed. Oh, I was getting bored anyway.
Sure, but again, don't waste brain power and energy thinking about cards you can't beat. Formulate a game plan, think about cards you can play around the cards you can, don't worry about the cards you can't. In a position like this, my opponent's deck has much bigger threats in it and is incredibly favored. We're the aggro deck. Our goal is to get under the opponent, not play through their top end. If you wanna play a deck to play through your opponent's top end, I'd recommend casting the card Command the Dreadhorde. This is not a deck that's about playing through your opponent's top end. We could maybe go wide around this if we hit another creature. Maybe. Needed to fade that for one more turn. That's true. That's true. They're just dead. Dead to another shock here with the Arcanist. So, that's a good rules question. So what Feather does, as it says, instead of putting that card into your graveyard as it resolves, exile it instead. So when you kill a card in response to something targeting it, the spell targeting it doesn't resolve. So basically, Feather requires it to resolve. This is lethal next turn if they brick, right? No, not quite. Not quite. I'm a liar. They block here. They go to 2. And like any big spell here is real bad for us, obviously. Like that. Very bad. Need to rip a lethal one here. No Stormy. I kill one of their elves. They block the 4/4. They block this here. Virtual Realism, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. We have some draws next turn. So next turn the Arcanist gets back Defiant Strike, which could draw us into a shock and kill them potentially. Or some other mix of haste things. Oh, that's a good line. Arcanist Coil the Branch Walker. No, that doesn't work. Stop it, chat. Take a timeout. We coil this. They block here. They double block here. They go to 2. No, I'm wrong. You're right. I'm wrong. Come back. Come back. Right, that does 1. All right, you're right. I'm wrong. I counted. So they go block. They go to 2. All right. Yep. So what's my line here? I think it's do this. Now I gotta get lucky. So, we're not dead on the backswing, and I can draw a shot. Oh, actually, I have the Arcanist to shock them, right? So if they brick off here, they're dead. So if their top card's a blank, they lose. Because this Arcanist flashes back shock. So I could have killed them this turn with the proper line last turn. Because this gets a shock out of the bin. Didn't shock there kill them? No, they put an elf in front of this as a 1/3, and then they put a 3/2 and an elf in front of this. They put this in front of the 4/4. Yes, if I shocked their face, they wouldn't have taken any damage inside of combat. If this is a brick, this casts shock next turn. So I could have killed them that turn with shock if I'd have tacked 2 turns prior with the Lava Coil. Any reason we're holding a land they know about? Probably not, because there's not a bow in my deck right now. Should there be bows in my deck? Real talk. Should there be... I actually had boarded out my shocks too. Yikes, I'm greedy. This deck has a lot of micro decision. Yeah, I don't know about, that's like Hostage Taker. Like, I have Reckless Rage and Lava Coil, though. So, like, I have efficient ways to deal with that. And I have Tocatli on her guard. Divest doesn't take this, right? Divest is... It does dodge Divest, right? I thought it was creature... Is it creature and artifact? That's funny. I thought it was Planeswalker and creature. That's a different card, right? Planeswalker creature is a different card. All right, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna cut the Girds on the draw and be a little defensive. Of course, the bot is dead the one time I don't know the text on a card. Silly bot. Tricks are for kids. Despise, that's the one. My first open top 8, I had Despises in my main deck. Bow is in the side for matchups that are going long where they are frequently killing your creatures. It is there to increase threat density. The bot's so dumb. I might have to... A part of me wants to write my own card lookup bot. It can't be that hard in Python. Because the cooldown timer is so flippin' annoying. I really wish there wasn't a cooldown for commands in the bot. I don't even want to kill this, do I? I think I just pass. Yeah, and Twitch chats are just IRC channels. So, like, rating an IRC bot is, like, not bad. There's Python libraries that do that. Yeah, you can do API calls with a variety of languages. If they have like a trophy to kill this, yeah, the glowing red note, chat. It really empowers me as a person. We're currently missing a color, but so are they, and they're missing land drops in general. And I'm on the board, and I have my machine gun going. Alright, they hit their color in their land. Do your bratwurst. And we get to hide the reckless rage here basically, which is sweet. I assume they're taking the feather here. Just as you were talking about API calls, I received an execution of API call failed error at work. Lol. Good timing. Spellbreaker. I guess that makes a lot of sense even though we can't cast it. Like, that's gonna let us close the game out quickly if I rip a green source. That's not how feather works, Testy. Defiant Strike, please. Situations like this are why I have one copy of Rile in the main deck, because like when you have feather going, like a card that targets that draws a card is just like the best draw in your deck basically. You just like want more chances to have that. Oh, I could have shocked a Tocatli. That makes sense. That's true. I didn't think about that. Okay, so I could shock my own thing. I don't know. I think I'm okay. I think I'm pretty happy if they take the shock there. Making Sultai players die inside with Tocatli Honor Guard is one of the most satisfying things in Standard. Yep. Alright, and so at this point, I did board in my bows. So I want to make sure to leave these extra lands in my hand, because Bow is going to be able to potentially turn these into creatures. And thank you for the 10 months, Canaris. I appreciate it. That's 2 cruelties in a row. And heads up, I'd like to point out there was a really heads up play by my opponent this game, thought erasuring the Spellbreaker, even though I wasn't able to cast it at the time, because they definitely would be dead here if they hadn't done that. We're still a little bit ahead here, but not necessarily out of the woods yet. Yep. Up to 9, down to 8. Just slip this on in. You can feel their Nissa, right? This kills them, right? I get to Reckless Rage the land, shock them, snap back the shock, hit them for 2. Yeah, they're dead. They're dead to known information, exactly. Honor Guard, proving that it's worth its slots here. Listen, Marty, if they get Fatal Push, I get Blossoming Defense, and I'll play that game all day. That's all I'm saying. Sign me up for that one. Excellent, excellent. Sand like obviously needs a red source, but if it hits it, it's very good. If it doesn't hit it, it still plays Adanto Vanguard. Maybe because it has mostly red cards, it's supposed to be a mulligan. Maybe. Not gonna have time to stumble here. Glad to be playing the red matchup though. This is definitely something I want to try and get some reps in against. Come at me, Firebrand. I dare ya. Never didn't have it. Huh? Did I just trade? I could like pay 4, they shoot it, I Colossus and hit them for 7, but then I'm at 11. I think I just trade. It's also possible I should have just left this back to block. Hoping to draw a red source that doesn't deal damage to me here, so we can go Legion into rage this. The problem with paying 4 is you have to pay 8 there to keep it, because they get to activate it in response to my paying 4. A Ninja Turtle Jr., thanks for the 3/4 of a year, welcome back. Yeah, being, and this hand was probably not supposed to be a keep. Being choked on red here was pretty bad. I think this build is basically a free upgrade to... I think this build is essentially a free upgrade to the Boros version. I like this build a lot better. This is very similar to the Boros build, but just a better 5th threat, essentially. I think this is fine. Now I'm gonna bottom that. I just want more threats. Yeah, choked on red mana is also relevant. Alright, chat. Wide-eyed, no fear. Wide-eyed, no fear. Wide-eyed and no fear. Alright, they're dead next turn, so... Alright, dealer, one time. Give me 2 lands one time. This is the play to win line. Chain Whirler. Light up the stage. Oh, oh, are they dead? Are they dead? They block 1, and this is 12, right? No! Oh, come on! Come on! This card's so fucked. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. We're so close. We're so close. The emotional swings, chat. I don't know that my heart is like, I don't know I'm built for the emotional swings of that game. Warboss is good here. I don't think so. I think Warboss is worse than Adanto Vanguard. I know Vanguard ended up not being great in that specific game, but I think it's fine a lot of the time. I also think it's probably just worse than removal. Being able to kill their stuff a lot of the time is really good. This is probably worse than Lava Coil. I kind of feel like we're on like the kill their stuff plan. I mean, to be fair, they had a lot of combination of 2 cards on top of their deck that could kill us there. It just, I felt like I had hope when they like cast the light up the stage and it was mediocre, and then it was just snatched away from me. It's just cruelly snatched away. Just need a 3rd land, as good as Arcanist is. This is a very good draw. That was good too, right? Yes, Healing Grace targets their own stuff so we can recur it. And if we hit the land next turn, we can Feather and then flashback Defiant Strike, and it goes back to our hand with Feather, which is just great. Just wonderful. Rude. Rude. Yeah, that's true. We did stumble that game too, right? Alright, so I led on Feather first because I had 2. So this turn, I'm going to play Spellbreaker as a 4/4. So that way, now I would rather, between like double Feather Spellbreaker, I'd rather they kill the first Feather. Now between double Spellbreaker, 1 Feather, I'd rather they kill Spellbreaker first. I don't think it's worth shocking to hold up Reckless Rage here. I don't think it's worth shocking to hold up Reckless Rage here. I guess I'm at 18. Maybe it is. From an efficiency standpoint, they're pretty unlikely to play 2 creatures this turn though, right? Light them up. We're on fire. Oh, wow. That's, sure. Alright, you do you, opponent. Let me know if I'm dead. Alright, on to the 3rd one. Hey, Hey, Tai XG, thank you for the quarter of your support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. That's the easy one, right? The easy one is where we're on the play. So this is the tough one on the draw. The fact that we have a bunch of shocks is helpful here. Healing Grace also reasonable. If we can get a creature to live, we have more 1 mana removal, which is nice. We'll see. Definitely the hardest of the 3 though. I think this is a keep. Shock. So they're 1 mana card at least. Bow's been good. Bow is really good in your matchups that are hard with this deck. Try the removal heavy ones. Akadoin, thank you for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. You think of Infect with Teferi or Phyrexian Crusader? Just got finished watching Blue Green Infectors today. It seems fine. Teferi seems appealing. Teferi seems good in Infect's hard matchups. Do I want to shock to play the 10th District Legionnaire? I think I do, right? Or do I want to just go tapped land Lava Coil? I could just play Honor Guard here, too. Another 3 damage spell really sucks if I play Tocatli. Like, if they have another Lightning Strike or a Wizard Lightning. I guess if they don't have that, this Tocatli Honor Guard is really good here, though, right? Yeah, see, now I'm down to 12. Yeah, but at least it draws a card there, Burgle. What are you doing? Go home, you're drunk. Always look at the auto tapper, chat. It's gonna let you know what it's doing. Alright, sweet. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. I just want to keep my health total high here. I am not playing the Indestructible spell someone just asked about. Alright, sweet. We're ahead. Ahead by a pretty significant margin at this point. I'm not a fan of Sheltering Light because it's not good with this card. Collision Colossus serves a similar role against damage-based removal while also giving you punch to kill people. Hey, Isabus, thank you for the 14 months. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. That is an excellent draw in the face of Experimental Frenzy. Cuts off some of their stuff. This has been a game. This game's been a really good example of just like how good Feather is when it's good. stop leaving my non-white sources untapped, game. Alright, so do I just play 10th district? I think I hold on to 10th district, right? Because I can hold up double strike plus shock this turn. So, Sheltering Light being recast by Arcanist effectively doesn't do anything most of the time. You're just like getting to scry one and getting an indestructible attacker, which isn't really meaningful in my opinion. Oh, I guess this is bad if there's a Wizard Lightning on top of their deck. Oh, that's a good draw. Paranoid Bear, thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Oh, alrighty then. All right, listen. I firmly believe on ending on a high note. I know it's a little bit early, but I've got some stuff I want to do before the weekend, and I don't think we're gonna get a better match. I don't think we're gonna get a better match than that one. That was just like from the swings in game 1 to both games 2 and 3. That was just very delicious. Yeah, someone had mentioned the Rile, and I sideboarded out a lot. I'm still not sure if this card's worth playing. Honestly, I just slid it over here. This might be better as a third Collision Colossus, just because it's, like, this card is so good when it's good, and when it's bad, it's still pretty okay, right? Also, we haven't gotten to do it, but this card with Dreadhorde Arcanist actually punches them for 9. Like, you get to pump this, attack, flash it back, and this is attacking as a 9/7 with trample, which is pretty sweet. So when we play tomorrow, I might play a third Collision over the Rile. Rile has never been relevant. You like Arrestor Zeal. I think Collision Colossus is better than Arrestor Zeal on average. Although I guess Arrestor Zeal is another card that Dreadhorde Arcanist can do. I could see that being okay. I don't think the matchups where Raptor Hatchling are hard matchups, if that makes sense. This is one of the best cards in the deck. Do not cut it. This is one of the best cards in this deck. This is your single best card in your hard matchups. Never, ever get rid of this card. There is a reason every Feather deck pretty much plays these 4 threats. The +2/+2 Helix split card. That's an interesting one. I actually haven't. Tess, that's Integrity Intervention, right? Hey, Burgle, are you still here? What do you think of this card? Can we play this? Is one okay? I feel like this might be okay. This one had fallen off my thoughts. You think it's bad? You think it's worse than playing this? Oh, it doesn't flash back with Arcanist. Yeah, that's true. It costs 5. Yep. Yeah, I think that was the reason why I had Rile, is because right now I only have 14 cards that flash back easily. Zeal's an interesting thought. I've seen some people playing this. It gives flying, which is nice. Like having a little bit of evasion isn't terrible. It's probably just play. Should probably just play 3 of this card. Kranko is really bad. Kranko it's just not good. I think I just want a third copy of this card, even if it's non-foil. Foil Colossus went. Alright, folks, thanks everyone for watching. Remember, if you want to see more stuff from myself, you check my website, my YouTube channel. We're going to play some more matches with us tomorrow. I'm going to be playing it this weekend at the Nerd Rage tournament on Saturday and Sunday. You can watch the paper tournament with their coverage at twitch.tv/NRG series. If you want to watch some more stuff here on Twitch, I'm going to find someone streaming constructed to host. Have a good one, folks. Ollie is on, and Ollie's also playing Arkbow. Let's send y'all his way.